Well, back in 2011, Lovell submitted a tender submission for Birmingham City Council, and as part of that submission, North East Worcestershire College were working with the council, and they were looking at linking up with employers. We realised during the submission process in the interview that the college had no support from employers, and that's where we thought we could come along and play a part and get involved in events like today, interview skills workshop, careers events and the like.
We were involved with the tendering stage for a contract for Birmingham District Housing Trust, and Lovell's put one of their tenders into that. They came here to have a look around the site, and once we'd had some dialogue at the tendering event, we realised there were some mutual things that we could get involved with. We didn't have a very large employer engagement at the time, and we welcome any response from employers such as Lovell's, and they've been very proactive in getting involved with us, so this is an event that we'd like to put on. Hopefully be mutually beneficial for all of us.
Okay, Lovell's have a lot of involvement with local colleges in the area. They didn't really know much about New College in the first instance, so they came down to do a site visit, just to see what we were about. I happened to be around at this time, and I spoke to Karen, and we talked about my job role and what's expected of the students, so the employability skills. And from that, me and Karen and my boss Andy discussed the possibility of them getting involved in interviewing the students, doing a mock interview for them.
Well, firstly, for the trainee managers, it's a great experience for them. They are able to develop their communication skills, their presentation skills. Most of the trainee managers will have never experienced anything like this in terms of being sat on the other side of the interview table. But for the students as well, again, it would be their first interview for most of them. So they get a chance to go out there to have that experience with an employer and be able to see the kind of questions that they would get asked at any future interviews. So it's building up their communication skills as well, helping to increase their confidence in interview scenarios and interview workshops, and just seeing the kind of questions that they would be asked.
For our students, it's a chance for them to meet with companies, meet with different people who are already in employment, and give them something to aim for. And I think for the graduates involved, it's important that they learn that when they're employing people to work on their sites, that they're actually dealing with other people's lives, and that there's different aspects and different people, different parts of the community. I think that it'll give them a chance to practice interview skills, to realise that when they are in interview, they are on their own, and that they've got to be reliant and self-confident, and try and dispel some of the nerves before they go for an interview that would be real.
I think it's of enormous benefit for the students, because I can give them mock interviews, but it's an artificial situation because they're familiar with me. Whereas if you go to a standard interview, you're not going to know the person that's sat on the other side of the desk. So it's important to have someone from industry like Lovell's come in and interview the students, because the students can get a lot of helpful advice from that.
One of the main qualities that we do look for, we want an individual to be really interested in the construction industry. We want their passion to show through, so that usually comes out through the types of answers that they give to the questions that are asked. We want them to be sort of committed to their long-term career. We want them to, again, be passionate about wanting to forge that career and everything that encompasses a career in the construction industry. Firstly, tip number one is know your employer, know about the company that you are applying for. Go on their website, do some research. If you can go along to a local office, get some literature on the company, then that's great. Secondly, when you are asked questions at the interview, you need to provide full answers. Don't just give yes and no answers. If you've got experience to back up anything that you were asked, then provide that in the interview. And thirdly, it's all about your presentation, so it's the way you look in terms of your dress code. You make sure that you're smart, you're not wearing trainers. You know, if you want to wear a suit, that's great. And also the way you deliver yourself during that interview, so come across as being interested, as really wanting to be there during that interview and be able to sell yourself and sell your skills to your potential employer.
I think in the first instance it's important to practice common interview questions, because 9 times out of 10 you will always get asked some of them, and I think if you can involve family and friends in that process so that they can give you feedback on what went well and what you need to improve upon. I also think it's beneficial if you can ring up the company prior to an interview and go down and actually view the site. That way you can familiarise yourself with the layout, how long it's going to take you to get there, and it also shows that you're really interested in the job and you're willing to take your own initiative in order to secure it.
Yes, definitely. Today is just one of the very first events that we've organised with the college, and going forward we're going to get involved in some site visits. We're going to get some students to come along to a Lovell site in the Midlands region. We're going to be helping out with some bricklaying competitions further down the line. We'll provide some support through sponsorship of prizes. We'll bring some more of our trainee site managers along to events like that. We'll provide work placements further down the line and build an ongoing strong relationship with the college.
I think it would continue and to flourish as well, with explore new opportunities how we can both be mutually supportive.
I felt a bit nervous to start off with, but then after a while we got talking properly and my nerves went a bit.
I felt that it was positive encouragement, and it was preparing us for real world scenarios if we're applying for a job, and it's an eye opener really. It's, you know, it entails what it says for the interview.
It was alright. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, it's been useful to find out like what it's actually like to be interviewed.
It's been useful because obviously it's preparing us for if we are applying for job opportunities and job vacancies, and obviously a job opening would entail an interview, and I feel that it's been really useful and that it's really good really as well. Obviously with it's obviously because it's Lovell's as well. It's a big company, and obviously they're trained to obviously interview and help you out best they can.
It has been quite useful actually, because like I thought it would be like a bit easier, but you know, it's not as easy as I thought it would be. Because like you need to like know what to say about yourself, stuff like that.
Learned that maybe it's easier to do an interview than you think it is. Instead of going in nervous, you can go in a bit confident, but not too confident.
I've learnt that Lovell's is a big multinational corporation. They have lots of job opportunities and vacancies. I felt that the interview as a whole does do a lot of good because it's entailing a lot of things to help you out, real life scenarios and things. And it's a good opportunity really.
Go in confident and know what you're going to say about yourself.
Eye contact and less fidgeting really, and just maybe sitting up straight.
I could have a bit more eye contact. I felt I've lacked on that. I feel that I've done. I've slacked down a bit and I've just been a bit, you know. And I haven't done. My communication hasn't been best really. I've just been a bit and things like that. So yeah.
know what to say about yourself, like what your skills are, your weaknesses and your strengths. You have to know what they all are, so you can tell them to the interviewer.
It was very good for them. It was on the basis of getting into real life situations, the fact that many of them had never had a proper interview before, and just getting them past them sort of pre-interview nerves and just be at one with themselves and be honest and sort of like get the answers across without hesitating.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I would say that they all needed to do was just research the company that they're going to have the interview with, because it's a question commonly asked, and if you don't know, then you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot to start with.
I think it's going to prepare them for future interviews that they're going to have with future companies, because I presume they're going to get feedback on them, which means they can take that into account and improve on how they answer the questions in future interviews.
I think that they get a lot back from it. I think that if you've never been to a job interview before, it can be quite daunting, and being 16, 17 years of age as well, I remember my first interview and it's very nerve-wracking. So I think if you're able to talk to somebody who's been in that position, it's a great thing for them.
I think they need to go in more detail with the questions, because a lot of them are sort of yes/no answers, really straight to the point, and it's quite hard to get them to elaborate on it. And a few questions, I don't know whether they knew the questions before, but they sort of like, I don't know. So that's all. I think if they take that into account and just do a little bit more research on how to answer the questions in future.
Generally, I think it's confidence. I think they need to all just maybe get used to speaking to somebody who they're not used to speaking to, and then I think that's mainly it, and maybe do a little bit of revision on the company that they're going for an interview for. I think that's always a good thing as well.
The enthusiasm of them, you know, they was all young, enthusiastic, and from what I've seen of the people I interviewed today, I would all offer them as good as a job tomorrow, because they all showed the qualities that I'd be looking for personally. They all had drive, motivation, and I think that's the sort of thing that we need within our industry, because it is a thing what pushes the building on.
Yeah, definitely. Again, interacting with people. I mean, we're not used to doing interviews to people, so it's a great thing for us as well to come and obviously get an insight to teaching to ourselves as well, I suppose, teaching ourselves how to do interviews.
I think they need basic maths. Basic maths is a must in the building industry because of measurements.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they've got a good understanding of the maths, it comes with the job.
Mm-hmm.
But as well, again, you know, you need them to be punctual. You know, you need them to be disciplined with themselves as well as with others, and team players, because it's very rare you work on your own on a building site. You've always got to work with somebody else. And like I say, all the interviewees I interviewed were very good and all seemed to be very well motivated.
I think you've got to look for good communication. Obviously, communication's everything. It's key to success, because if one department doesn't speak to another department, then the job doesn't get done. So definitely communication, teamwork, encouragement, and yeah.
I think you're always looking for somebody who's enthusiastic in what they want to do. Self-motivation as well is a big thing. And somebody who's willing to learn from somebody as well. They don't just want to come to a job and think that they know everything. Somebody who's willing to listen to what a tradesman who's been in the trade for years is willing to say to them.